Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. Well, guys, we are back at it. It's that time of the year where recruiting is in full swing, especially for football. I've said this a few times already, but I think it's worth repeating again. In college football, the calendar has been sped up so much. It is ridiculous over the last 5 years, and it just keeps getting sped up more and more and more. And for a program like Iowa, it does kind of make it difficult because they definitely benefit from a more patient demeanor in an approach in how they go about recruiting. There's been many under the radar last minute recruits that Iowa has landed. I think this last recruiting cycle was the only one that's not been the case. Um, Outside of the kicking position, of course, or special teams position. But nonetheless, Iowa still does at the same time, uh, they are at the forefront of getting guys on campus as soon as they can and getting that all situated. And this is why they end up with three commitments in January uh, after their junior visit. So it goes both ways. They definitely do a good job of having a really put together calendar in getting guys on campus and really getting that going. A methodical approach. I remember one time Tyler Barnes said with regard, or Kirk Ferentz said, and Tyler Barnes with regards to the COOF year recruiting class. I think it was the 2021 or 2022 recruiting class. There were a bunch of guys that Iowa had swung and missed on. And uh, when asked why, it was because they were not as far along with recruits as they would have normally been because they weren't able to get these guys that they would have normally been able to get on campus. They didn't get them on campus. So that definitely is something that Iowa tries to do, and it definitely benefits them as well. All right, so let's dive into. With that being said, Let's dive into the recruiting class. Oh, one more thing. I did a video. I highly recommend that you guys go and check it out. I did a video on the junior college ruling and how that might, no, it was the 2022 recruiting class that I was talking about, and how that might affect recruiting at the NCAA Division One level. I wasn't expecting it to affect it this quickly. And so far, as far as I can tell with Iowa football, it hasn't. But as time goes on and the first domino, the first player makes their decision to go JUCO rather than going and playing NCAA Division One football immediately, um, or more and more players go to the junior college route, we will see more Power Four level programs getting more recruits out of the junior college level. And quite frankly, when it comes to Iowa specifically, they've never really been big on the junior college recruit. The last guy that I can think of that's come out of junior college and been successful would be Caden Wedgkin, but he wasn't even a scholarship player when he first came to Iowa. Um, that was one, and then there was another wide receiver out of like Snow, Utah, or something like that, and he actually passed away. I believe he was shot and killed. I'm blanking on his name right now. RIP to him, obviously. But point is, Iowa doesn't really do it very often, and they've kind of had varying levels of success. Sean Green came from the junior college level, but also Iowa recruited him before. That's kind of what it seems like they do. If they recruit a guy before in high school, but for whatever reason they can't play at Iowa, the academics, whatever the case may be, Iowa stays with them and then they re-recruit them. That seems to be the normal way that Iowa goes about recruiting the junior college level. But so anyways, we'll see how that goes. It's definitely worth monitoring. All right. Iowa had their junior visit weekend. Let me get it pulled up here so you guys can see who was on campus. And by the way, guys, I might split these up into individual videos down the line and talk about the recruit on an individual level. I don't do that. When I first started doing YouTube, I would be more privy to doing that, but yeah, I do so many videos. At times it is hard to do each individual recruit and recruit and record three separate videos. So sometimes it is just easier to do this, especially when they commit in like a week span and just do kind of a summary. But if it's a big recruit at a big position, like a interesting position, I guess, like a running back or wide receiver or quarterback, I might be more willing to do an individual video. But again, that's kind of my thoughts on why I kind of put them together rather than doing an individual. But we might do an individual as time goes on. All right. So this was the junior day visit on the 25th. Iowa had some major guys on campus. Roman Voss is one of the big tight end names that Iowa is in on. It seems the primary competition for him is Minnesota. Um, I think Iowa does hold the advantage there because of their tight end success, but of course he is from the state of Minnesota. Julian Manson, I wouldn't be surprised if he commits in the coming days. So far, we haven't heard from him, but there's a 99% chance of him landing at Iowa. Most of the recruiting sites are seeing him as a linebacker, although he is also ranked as a athlete. I don't know what other positions he plays. Probably either wide receiver, tight end, maybe DB. But long term, I think they see him more as a linebacker, and he is a four-star. It's kind of crazy. Iowa City didn't win the state championship if you consider all the Division One prospects that they've had. They had Mason Woods last year. This year, they have two Division One Power Four level recruits. Um, but I remember when I was in high school, and I've told this story many times. We had two Power Four Pac-10 or Pac-12 level players, quarterback and tight end, and they did well. They didn't lose very many games, but they didn't even win the section because where I live, it goes section and then the state if you do well. Um, and so it just goes to show that you still do need to have a complete team rather than just having a few really strong pieces. But obviously, Iowa already has a commitment from Carson Nielsen, four-star offensive lineman. That was a big get. There was a lot of major programs after him. They had commitment from Marcelo Viti. I'm not sure if I did a video on him. I think I did. That was a major get as well. It's been a while since Iowa, probably going back to Cooper DeJean and Xavier Wanpo would be the most recent, maybe Cohen Entringer, like big name with multiple Power Four schools after him, DBs that Phil Parker has been able to land, especially out of the state of Michigan. This was a really good get. I do think as time goes on, it might be difficult for Iowa to hold on to him. And I need to preface everything that we're going to talk about today by saying that we're still really early in the process. And Iowa had multiple decommitments in the last recruiting class. It is certainly possible for them to have it this class. Iowa usually does do a good job of holding on to their players. Um, so I wouldn't put the percentage as high for them as I would for other schools. But still, it's definitely a possibility, unfortunately. I'm just looking to see if I did the video for him. I don't think I did. So I guess we can talk about him right now. But yes, I mean it was a really good get for Phil Parker, and it really started to have this class start to take shape. Um, then Iowa, obviously, they have the official visit weekend, and this is where we are. Iowa landed commitments from high three-star in the state of Minnesota, Owen Linder. They then actually, who was the first? I think, yes, Owen Linder was first. And then the next offensive lineman that they received a commitment from was in state, who goes to West Senior in Iowa City, Colin Witters, high three-star interior offensive lineman who actually was a tight end before moving to the offensive line position. And then the big name that Iowa landed from Brandon Valley, Brandon, South Dakota, which is the same place as Matt Vandenberg. They landed Hudson Parliament, who was also strongly considering Nebraska. Usually, Nebraska does recruit really well in the Dakotas, but Iowa was able to land that commitment. Again, I think he is a name to keep an eye out for. There will be other guys that or other schools that come in to recruit him. But this is a really good haul, guys. I mean, Iowa to have their quarterback already in a high three-star, probably the highest rated quarterback out of high school that Iowa has landed. Well, that's not true. I mean, technically James Razor was a four-star by 247 Sports. But I mean, like a pure quarterback rather than like an athlete where he's being ranked as an athlete. Um, Cash Herrera is probably one of the, if not the highest rated quarterback composite that Iowa has landed with the best offer sheet in a while. So they already have their quarterback. They have two four-star offensive linemen, and their offensive line group is already basically done. With Carson Nielsen, Colin Witters, and Owen Linder already. There's some flexibility. I think Owen Linder could play inside or outside. I think they're probably more looking at him inside, and Iowa would probably be looking for another outside guy to pair with Carson Nielsen. Again, they had some other names on here, Samuel Simpson, who Iowa was favored to land, but again, spots are being filled up. Spots are being filled up. And here were some other names. So let's take a look at their commitment log here. Man, I can't believe I didn't do a video on Marcelo Vitti committing to Iowa. Man, that's crazy. Because I definitely did one on Cash Herrera. Um, and I believe Marcelo committed after. Yeah, I don't think I did a video. So, anyways, Iowa's currently ranked 16th, which I think is definitely representative. This is a really good class. This is shaping up so far to be a top 30, top 25 class for Iowa. There are a lot of other schools that are recruiting as quickly as Iowa, obviously. Um, I mean, this you really can't get much of a better start. I mean, what more is there to say? George Barnett, the Iowa offensive line, is capitalizing on two, back to back decent years. Definitely this year, they were a really solid offensive line. I would say they're capitalizing on a really solid offensive line year with a really, leading rusher and Caleb Johnson, one of the best running games in the entire country. And George Barnett has always recruited decently. The offensive line position is, I would say, one of the toughest, if not the toughest, outside of the quarterback position to prognosticate because there's still so much development that is going on physically, maturation wise, skill wise. But nonetheless, look at this, guys. Owen Linder is a borderline four-star by On3 with an 89. He has an 88 grade here by 247 Sports. Rivals, unfortunately, has him as a 5.5. Colin Witters, high 3-star, 88 by On3, 87 by 247 Sports. Um, Marcelo Vitti, who committed in December, 88 and 89, 4-star by Rivals, 4-star composite, doesn't have a grade by ESPN yet. Hudson Parliament, 89, 89. Borderline, 4-star by both these services, and then a 4-star by Rivals. And then Carson Nielsen, 4-star all the way around except for by Rivals. I mean, this is really good, guys. This class is really shaping up. You couple this class with last year's class. And last year's class, the only reason why Cash Herrera's rating is not up to date by 247 Sports. He's actually an 88 by 247 Sports. Um, Last year's class, it wasn't big as far as volume goes, but as far as the actual commits, it was really solid with multiple 4-stars. Yossi Epinesa being or Yos Epinesa being a borderline 5-star, if not a complete 5-star. So this Iowa class is in good shape, guys. I mean, I really like where we're going to improve. Kind of what will dictate the high end of this class, kind of the peak of what this class can be, is if any of these guys can catapult into being a top 100 recruit, or if Iowa can land a top 100 recruit like a Yos Epinesa, or heck, I mean, even technically Carson Cooney. By a few of the recruiting services, and Burt Goucher were borderline top 100 guys. But mainly, I would say Yos Epinesa. That is going to determine the high end of this class and how good this class can be. But I mean, they're in really good shape right now, guys. I mean, they have a really strong group of guys here, foundation, and I'm very pleased at where they're at before they even have their official visit weekend in June. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think of the recent slew of commitments in Owen Linder, Hudson Parliament, the 4-star, and Colin Witters. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts your feelings, because your feelings just matter. I love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. I'll definitely be talking about Iowa versus Ohio State. Unfortunately, but that's not at the forefront right now because they lost. But I'll definitely get a video put out there soon, so watch out for that. All right, Hawk fans, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.